When a report is made about a family, most people assume the process is simple. Someone calls a hotline, a caseworker reviews the situation, and a decision is made based on human judgment. But in some places, that's not where the process starts, because before a person ever reviews the case, a system may already have. When a report comes in, it doesn't just sit on a desk, it gets entered into a system. And that system doesn't just store the report, it connects it to data. Data pulled from multiple sources, public records, prior interactions, and other available datasets can be combined to build a broader picture tied to the case. Not just what was reported, but what exists in the background. And once that data is assembled, something else happens. It gets scored. This is where the algorithm comes in. A risk model takes that data and produces a number, a score that represents the system's estimate of potential risk, not based on a single event, but on patterns identified across large datasets over time. On the surface, that sounds efficient. More information, more context, better decisions. But the role of that score is where things change, because the score doesn't just sit in the system, it influences what happens next, whether a case is screened in or screened out, whether it's considered high priority or low priority, whether it moves forward quickly or gets filtered out early. And in many cases, that score exists before a human has fully reviewed the situation, which means the first layer of judgment isn't human, it's computational. That changes the structure of the process, because instead of a person starting from a blank slate, they're starting from a signal, a number that has already framed the situation, high risk, low risk, somewhere in between. And even if the final decision is made by a person, that initial signal can shape how the case is perceived, what stands out, what gets attention, what feels urgent. This is where the system shifts, because the goal isn't just to respond to reports, it's to manage volume, to prioritize, to allocate limited resources. And when you have more reports than you can handle, systems like this are designed to help decide where to focus. But that introduces a new layer of influence, because the inputs into that system matter. What data is included, what data is excluded, how it's weighted, how it's interpreted, and how patterns are defined. Because an algorithm doesn't understand context the way a person does, it understands correlations, patterns across data, which means the output is shaped by the data it was built on. And once that system is in place, something subtle happens. The decision-making process becomes structured around it, not just guided by it, but influenced by it. Because when a score is present, it's hard to ignore. It becomes part of the lens, part of the starting point, and over time, that can shape outcomes. Which cases move forward, which ones don't, which ones get attention, which ones don't. All from a system designed to make decisions more efficient, but efficiency changes structure, and structure changes outcomes. This doesn't mean every decision is wrong, and it doesn't mean the system is the only factor, but it does mean something important has shifted, because before a caseworker ever makes a judgment, a system may have already made an assessment, quietly, in the background, turning data into a signal, and that signal into influence. If this video opened your eyes even a little, don't let it stop here. Hit that subscribe button because the next one goes even deeper. Hit the like button so this video actually reaches more people. Go to the comment section and let me know what stood out to you or what I should test next. And share this video with someone who needs to see it before they scroll past it, because the more this spreads, the harder it becomes to ignore what's really going on. Are you ready for the next truth test? Let's go.